So we'll go to the next submission, Mr. President.
The next submission is an oral presentation by the Canadian Nuclear Society as outlined in CMD 15H2.109 and 2.109A. And I understand that that President Plourde will make the presentation. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President and Commissioners, good afternoon, and thank you for giving Canadian Nuclear Society the opportunity to speak to you today. I have with me to help me out Colin Hunt, from the Secretary from the CNS, and John Roberts as past President of the CNS. See if I can get the... I didn't get the instructions, I guess.
Use the down arrow.
Oh, there we go. As a learned society of 1,100 members, we promote the safe and peaceful use of nuclear science and technology. We do this through advocacy, such as today's intervention, through public education and outreach, and by offering opportunities to our technical people to interchange and network. We believe that Bruce Power operates its nuclear facilities in a manner that is consistent with our objectives. In this brief presentation, we would like to walk you through the key characteristics of Bruce Power that support that claim. In summary, these are the plant, the people, emergency preparedness, post-Fukushima, and community relations. Also, a crucial part of safe and peaceful operation is effective communication, both internally and externally, which is also a core objective of the CNS. It's impossible to talk about the physical plant without talking about the people who design, construct, operate, maintain, and oversee it. Performance at Bruce Power has a lot to do with safety culture, whether you're talking about nuclear safety or conventional safety. Bruce Power employs from top to the bottom of the organization. The employees understand and respect the energy contained in the reactor core. Evidence of this respect is obvious everywhere. Adherence to procedures, strong oversight, both internal and external, environmental stewardship, and use of industry best practices, just to name a few. At Bruce, this healthy nuclear safety culture isn't limited to the safety of the core. It's ingrained in everything from radiation protection and working at heights to designing modifications. Needless to say that human performance is as important as equipment performance, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. The excellent nuclear safety performance at Bruce Power has been recognized by the international community. This is only achieved after all aspects of operations are scrutinized by industry peers and compared to standards representing the best practices of the industry, from organizational effectiveness through maintenance and equipment reliability to industrial and radiological safety. Excellent performance doesn't mean that Bruce Power is sitting on its laurels. Continuous improvement is evident from the results of these periodic peer reviews and from the positive trend of the Nuclear Performance Index at both Bruce A and B. An important measure of overall plant performance is its reliability as an electricity producer. In 2014, all 8 Bruce reactor units ran at a capacity factor averaging 84% and delivered 1/3 of Ontario's electricity needs. Bruce Power's goals of achieving high capacity factors goes hand in hand with that of achieving high performance in nuclear safety. Look at the Nuclear Performance Index for a minute. 30% of that index, 30% of that score is attributed to production performance. With that goal in mind, Bruce Power goes aggressively after its maintenance backlogs to reduce the risks to safety and production. It invests considerably in improvements to equipment to increase reliability, address aging, and combat obsolescence. It optimizes its outages to get the right work done at the right time, ensuring reliable operation in between. And finally, it focuses on human performance to prevent errors. All of these are focus areas that have proven effective over and over again in the industry at making the facility safe and highly reliable.
You said use the down arrow.
Down arrow. Now more on Bruce Power people. Bruce Power clearly focuses on human performance, behaviors, and expectations, most particularly related to leadership in all areas, and industrial safety and radiation protection. Since the return to service of Bruce A, Bruce Power has gradually shifted to a center of site support structure, where many functions like management, engineering, maintenance, for example, have been centralized. This is a powerful move that, among other things, improves management oversight, improves teamwork, and improves standardization, all of which increase safety and efficiency. Human performance is very much impacted by changing demographics. At Bruce Power, in 2001, less than 15% of the staff was 36 years old or less. Today, about 40% is under 36. Yet, through comprehensive staffing and hiring plans, the site has retained the expertise of the previous generations. And finally, at Bruce Power, training is only one aspect of human performance. Day-to-day reinforcement in the workplace is the order of business. Human performance tools are provided, expectations are clearly stated, and management at all levels, from the first line manager to the chief nuclear officer, are in the field observing and coaching. Emergency preparedness is typically what the community uses as a measure of the nuclear operator's integrity and the performance of its facility. Even before the Fukushima event, Bruce Power had embarked on a complete refurbishment of its emergency response capabilities for fire and radiological events. This has resulted in many enhancements, including new and upgraded emergency management facilities, upgraded emergency response capabilities, both equipment and personnel, enhanced communication within the site and with external agencies. And that is very important, both internal and external communication. Enhanced training and exercises for emergency situations. History tells us that the most significant safety risk in nuclear accident, even a worst-case accident, is due to misunderstanding and poor communication. Through the above improvements, Bruce Power is effectively addressing this risk. And then there is the Fukushima Daiichi event to remind us that we can never be complacent. Canada's response to this event was next to none on the international scene, and Bruce Power was an active player on the team. The Fukushima Daiichi event was a total loss of site electrical power as a result of flooding from the tsunami. At Bruce, as with all the other Canadian sites, it wasn't really possible to find a credible external event that could cause such a total loss of power. So the assumption was made that electrical power, normal, standby, and emergency, could be totally lost anyway. And measures were taken to ensure the fuel was cooled in the reactor cores and in the irradiated fuel base. These measures included emergency portable equipment, emergency engineered hookups for this equipment, and training, drills, and exercises to ensure they were used effectively. Transparency builds trust, and trust is central to obtaining and maintaining social license to operate. After all, people are not truly safe until they feel safe, and this means engagement in all demographic communities using any and all pathways available as technology advances, and listening rather than telling. Bruce has embraced this vital requirement of sustainable technological operation in the 21st century. In its endeavor to relate to the community, Bruce Power is concentrating on employees, communities, First Nations, governments, media, and investors. Various means of communications are in use, not only to reach out to these groups, but also to the general population, through media, from local radio, television, to Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and using meetings with local organizations. In conclusion, safety excellence and high production performance are totally linked. The one feeds the other. Bruce Power's facilities are internationally recognized as strong performers in both areas. Bruce Power serves as a high-technology focal point for Ontario. It provides highly skilled, highly paid jobs. It provides vendor and service provider opportunities, and it provides partnerships with universities, colleges, and other educational institutions. And finally, remember that clean nuclear power means safe hospitals. The Bruce units produce cobalt-60, used in the sterilization of medical supplies. The Bruce site contributes significantly to a stable and reliable electrical power supply throughout Ontario. This ends my presentation. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you.